Hi, my name is Nicole, and this is a video for Torah Exchange. This week's Parashat is Parashat Shelach, where the story of the Meraglim takes place. In this story, Moshe sends out a group of men to tour the land of Israel and give a report about what they find there. When they go, they see very large fruits and very large people, and they become very overwhelmed. They come back and give this negative report about the land, saying it's too great for us, and we're not able to conquer it. A few of them don't agree. Yoshua and Kalev say we'll be able to do it, but they continue on with their negative comments, and they're later punished for their actions. So why were they exactly sent to the land? Ramban explains that they were sent in a simply strategic way. They're going to be conquering this land, and usually we rely on the concept of ein somchin al hanes, that we don't rely on miracles. So therefore, instead of just hoping that God would give us the land easily, they're going for a strategic mission to understand what the territory looked like and be able to plan accordingly. The Midrash really emphasizes that these were men of great spiritual stature, that these were some of the leaders of Bnei Israel, and therefore they weren't going to do anything bad. They didn't have a negative agenda. They were just strategically going to understand what was going on there. However, there's a different opinion, a different side of the story. At the beginning, when God tells Moshe to send these men, he says, Shlach lecha, send for yourself. And Rashi and Chazal explain that this is a way of God showing that he didn't actually want these men to go and tour the land, that he wanted full trust from Bnei Israel. But if Bnei Israel were going to complain, they weren't going to be able to trust in God, so then send for yourself for the people to tour. So that kind of gives the feeling that this is actually a doomed mission. Additionally, in Sota, on Daf Lamed Daled Amud Bet, the Gemara goes into great depth to trying to draw out from each one of the Meraglim's name how they're actually evil people, kind of contradicting what we saw in a different Midrash, which said that they were all of great spiritual stature. And also, on the good end, Ramban explains that they were actually reporting what they saw. They went and they saw great fruit and great people, both very large, and they came back and told everyone, these people are too great, these people are too large, the food is too large for us, and they're not falsifying information. So are these people who are bad, who had a negative agenda from the beginning, who went on a doomed mission that God didn't support, or were these people who were simply trying to do a strategic trip? And if so, when they come back and report about what they find there, why are they so punished? The Nitziv answers this contradiction by asking a different question. He asks why this trip happened now. Why didn't the trip of the Meraglim happen earlier? By Matan Torah, why weren't they said to look at the land then? So the Nitziv explains that at that point, Bnei Israel had been developing a very spiritual relationship with God, whereby they trusted God to provide them with everything. We know that in the desert, God gave man, he gave food from the heaven, and we relied very much on God and didn't really put on our own hishtadlut, our own physical participation. So at that point, it wasn't appropriate for us to tour the land because we were really in a place of relying on God fully, and that's what our relationship needed at that time. However, now that Bnei Israel are moving away from that point in time, moving away from Matan Torah, which was a complete connection with God, they're getting a little bit worried, and they're wanting to, understand how they should physically participate in the world. And therefore, this mission of the Meraglim occurs. It's not necessarily a positive thing, it's not necessarily a negative thing, more just like a reality that Moshe had to face, that these people were going to be worried physically about how they were going to survive, and even though they did have trust in God, they wanted to also put in their own hishtadlut, their own physical action in order to ensure that they'd be successful in conquering the land. Michael Rosenzweig explains that this is really what the Chet of the Meraglim was, that it's not that they shouldn't have gone, and it's not that they shouldn't have come back and been honest, but that Moshe expected that these people who were of great spiritual stature would come back, give an honest report, and yet would say, it's daunting, it's scary, everyone is very large there, which is not untrue, yet we have full belief in God that he'll help us in this endeavor. And that's actually what Rashi and others explain on the words alo na'aleh, which Kalev says in response to the Evan Meraglim. He says, no, let's go up, and let's go up. So it's a double word, right? You say alo na'aleh, why not just alo? So Chazal explained that Kalev was trying to counteract exactly what those Meraglim were saying. He was saying, we will go up no matter what it takes. Not saying that it's not going to be difficult, not saying that there aren't going to be challenges that lie in our way, but that God will definitely be supporting us, and we should follow Moshe in whatever he does and rely on that, not denying the truth of the difficulties that lie ahead of us. And I think this is a very applicable message because we are often facing difficulties. And I think that some people get a message that if you had a real trust in God, you wouldn't see any difficulty and you would just say everything's fine, everything is great, I'm going to get through everything fine. And I don't think that's necessarily what this story is teaching us. It's not that we can't address difficulty. It's not that we can't address that there is difficulty in, conquering the land of Israel and living in the land of Israel. There is difficulty, and I don't think we have to deny that difficulty, but rather than just have a negative, perspective as the Meraglim did and say, we won't be able to do it, we won't be able to be successful. Rather, what Moshe wanted was a combination of bitachon, trust in God, and hishtadlut, practical action. And together saying, this is difficult, we've torn, we can make a plan, we can put in our efforts, but at the end of the day, it looks too great for us, and therefore we trust that God will help us along the way. And I think that's the approach that we should take in our own lives when we face difficulty.